All right, good morning, everybody. Professor Ofulue, you may continue. Thank you very much. So,
Thank you, sir. I would like to just welcome everyone to this maiden edition of a webinar, TED Fund Advisory Committee on Digital Literacy Productivity. Once again, please accept our apologies for the late start. Right away. The agenda is there's supposed to be an MC. Professor Jegede, please. Can you confirm?
Yes.
The MC.
Sorry, you want me to confirm? MC.
On the agenda, an introduction of the session moderator.
Yeah, just go ahead because of time now. We have about 30 minutes left, so just go ahead.
Okay, so I would like to welcome all of us once again to the webinar. There is, I believe that the agenda was shared with. We're going right straight away to the introduction of the executive secretary. For those just joining, I'm the director of the Regional Training and Research Institute for this National Open University of Nigeria, and we'll be moderating the session. It's my privilege to an honor to introduce of the Tertiary Education Fund. I'll be reading a brief profile. We'll go right away. Okay, thank you. Before we do that, this is the agenda of the executive secretary. Then he'll be giving some introductory remarks. Take a few goodwill messages from I see the executive secretary of the National Universities Commission is in the room. Ambassador Chris Meyaki. I would like to confirm presence or representation from Executive Secretary of Education, National Commission, National Information Technology Development Agency. That I don't know if there's any representation from the African Development Bank, Union, and as well as the Federal and Digital Economy, Global Literacy Council, Digital, and from the Federal Minister of Education. Please, the chief executives are here, all their representatives. Please kindly in the chat so that the goodwill messages can go quite smoothly. There will be an introduction of the key speaker and go straight into the presentation, the keynote address, and then this will be interactions, and this will be I office in the room, and then vote of thanks by. That's it's the webinar. At this point, I would like to go to we're on number 2 now. And I would like to introduce the Executive Secretary, Education Fund, Architect Sunday Sylvia Togo Echono. Pleasure to read the profile of a distinguished who has had an outstanding career in public service that marked by remarkable achievements and contributions. He is the Executive Secretary of the Tertiary Education Trust Fund, Echono. An architect by profession, Architect Echono holds their bachelor's and master's degrees from the Ahmadu Bello University. Joined the Federal Civil Service in January 1987 and has risen through the ranks, displaying distinctive competence and hard work and integrity. Year career. He played a vital role in various offices where he worked, train and price intelligence unit, as well as the head of the team A and certifications of projects across various ministries. Complementing his architectural expertise, he obtained additional qualifications, including postgraduate diploma in management, an MBA, and a master's in procurement management. Architect Echono has held several pivotal roles in key ministries in the country, Nigeria here. In October 2014, he was appointed permanent secretary and served at the Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development, Federal Ministry of Communications, and Federal Ministry of Education before retiring from service. In March 2022, he assumed the role of Executive Secretary at the Tertiary Education Trust Fund, demonstrating continued dedication to the service of the nation. Architect Echono was elected president of the Nigerian Institute of Architects from 2019 to 2021. He has served on several boards and councils, including that of the International Institute for Tropical Agriculture, IIT, and the Global Partnership for Education. He is an accomplished technocrat, and that we can see from his profile. He is a fellow of the Nigerian Institute of Architects and a founding member and trustee of the Procurement Professionals Association of Nigeria. Architect Echono has received numerous fellowships and awards from federal government, professional bodies, academic institutions, and management organizations. His extensive knowledge and experience have led him to present over 40 papers at various national and international forums. Throughout his illustrious career, Architect Echono has enjoyed the admiration and respect of his peers and colleagues. And it is our pleasure at this point, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, it is my pleasure to welcome the Executive Secretary of the TED Fund and invite him to give his introductory remarks. Architect Echono, please. Thank you.
Thank you, Christine, for those kind words. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I have this unique honor and I'm delighted to extend my warmest greetings to each and every one of you, including the esteemed participants, our distinguished guests and stakeholders in the education sector who have graced this meeting and whose presence and attendance will add a lot of value to what we are going to accomplish here at the fund. This event is historic in many ways. It's pivotal because we are dealing with the subject of digital literacy and emerging skills, a global conversation on digital literacy in Africa. And I'm particularly grateful to the convener of this webinar. Professor Jegede will continue to renew our debt of gratitude to you for the efforts you've been making across the globe in deepening digital literacy. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, we stand at the threshold of a transformative journey. The journey that started at the inauguration of the Third Fund Advisory Committee on Digital Literacy, Productivity, and Emerging Skills. This was on the 17th of January this year, and most importantly, it is a journey that holds the promise of reshaping the landscape of education in Nigeria and indeed across the African continent. Today, we gather virtually from across Nigeria, other parts of Africa and beyond to inaugurate a webinar of paramount significance, one that marks the commencement of our efforts to steer the course of education in the direction that aligns seamlessly with the evolving digital landscape. Our theme, Global Conversation on Digital Literacy in Africa, serves as a beacon guiding us through the challenges and opportunities of the digital era as it resonates deeply with the transformative potential of the digital age. Our specific focus on Nigeria's tertiary educational system, and by extension the continent of Africa, underscores our unwavering commitment to shaping the future of our youth and reaffirms our dedication to fostering excellence and innovation in the education sector. Our tertiary institutions are the crucibles where knowledge is not only acquired, but also crystallized into the tools and skills that empower our learners to thrive in an ever-changing world. It is here that we concretize the foundation for sustainable prosperity by equipping our future leaders and professionals with the skills they need to be productive, to be competitive, and to excel in the global digital economy. Today, we come together with a shared vision to embark on a collective journey with a singular objective: to ignite the process of seamlessly blending our tertiary education system with the emerging modern work and work environment. In doing so, we recognize the vital importance of adopting and adapting the best global practices and integrating them into our educational framework that have proven effective in preparing learners to meet the demands of the digital age. Here at TEDCON, we regard this webinar to be offered initially on a quarterly basis as a veritable platform for transformation, a space where minds converge to explore new horizons, challenge conventional wisdom, and collectively craft a roadmap. A roadmap that will guide us as we empower our tertiary education workers, learners, and graduates with the digital advantages they will need to thrive in the contemporary world. Together here, we will engage in dynamic dialogue, explore innovative strategies, and forge connections that will shape the future of education locally, continentally, and even globally. The challenges before us may be formidable, but so too are the enormous opportunities. Through our collective efforts, we can bridge the digital divide and lay the foundation for a prosperous Nigeria and Africa that thrive in the global digital age. It will be a huge waste if we waste our youthful population. With this unprecedented attendance of this seminar, we are reassured of not being alone in our pursuit of this noble goal, but a part of a global community. We have the privilege of drawing inspiration and insights from nations that have successfully embraced digital literacy and emerging skills in their education systems. This webinar will also provide us with the opportunity to learn from the successes of these nations. And as I see the number growing, we are over 200 at this meeting currently. I'm encouraged that our discussions, collaborations, and insights will collectively lay the foundation for a digital savvy future for all on our planet. At this juncture, I want to extend my heartfelt appreciation to the individuals, organizations, members of the Third Fund Advisory Committee on Digital Literacy, Productivity, and Emerging Skills, whose chairman I have the privilege of sharing the same table here currently, and indeed my back-end staff, whose tremendous support and commitment have generously contributed to the realization of this landmark event. Your dedication to the advancement of education in Nigeria and beyond is highly commendable and lauded. Your undaunting resolve to ensure the achievement of 21st century tertiary education in Nigeria indeed is a blessing for us as a country. And through your collaborative spirit, we are celebrating this milestone today, and it is your dedication that propels us forward on this transformative journey. Third Fund commits to making the right sacrifices and investments to deploy resources to sustain these efforts until we attain our set objective. So as we embark on this exciting expedition, let us do so with unbridled enthusiasm, unalloyed determination, and a shared vision of a digitally empowered Africa that flourishes in the global digital age. Together, we shall shape a brighter, more prosperous future for our beloved, emerging, youthful generation. Thank you all, and enrich visions and collaborative initiatives. Again, God bless you, and thank you for your kind attention.
Thank you very much, Executive Secretary, Third Fund, for very excellent remarks that have set the tone quite appropriately for this webinar. We thank you most immensely, sir. Please, item on the agenda, which is goodwill messages. We'll start with goodwill message, a brief goodwill message from the Executive Secretary of the National Universities Commission, Ambassador Chris Miyake. Sir?
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes, yes, we can.
Okay, let me start by congratulating our Executive Secretary, Sonny Echeno, and his management team, and members of the Digital Literacy Advisory Committee. I also would like to extend the warm greetings of the National Universities Commission and those of the entire Nigerian university system, comprising today over 270 universities. It is indeed a privilege to be invited to participate and to deliver a short goodwill at this global dialogue focusing on the critical topic of advancing digital literacy in Africa. Distinguished participants, in our capacity National University recognizes the paramount importance of digital literacy as an increasingly indispensable skill set that is crucial both individual organizations prosper. Indeed, we will recall vividly that the COVID-19 pandemic unmasked and revealed huge infrastructural human resource deficits. Sorry.
Others are talking about.
This is very disruptive. Director of
Professor Fulwe, I think there's somebody, Lovette Sebo, who's sharing her screen, and I think she's the one who's talking. Whoever that person is.
No. It is the noise is too much, and the noise is too much.
Yes.
And it is also coming. So it's also coming from the room where you are. You need to control it from there.
No, there's no noise there. There's none here.
Okay. Okay, but then there is Abubakar Sabo Baba who is talking. I mean, he's the one who is interrupting. Abubakar Sabo Baba should be muted from the host. I don't know, because he's holding the meeting ransom. Anyway, I will, because I'm heading back to another meeting, I will just try and wrap up the goodwill. Yeah. I was just saying that the COVID-19 pandemic unmasked the unpreparedness of educational systems worldwide, including the Nigerian university system, in the delivery of programs through ICT-enabled remote teaching and learning. Post-pandemic, transitioning to online and blended learning is no longer optional, but imperative. We all agree, distinguished participants, that digital literacy is an integral facet of open and distance learning education. It empowers learners to effectively interact with online learning resources, engage with instructors and peers, and navigate the digital landscape of distance education. As the National Universities Commission, we are committed to promoting open distance and e-learning in Nigeria. The NUC, as you may have heard, has granted licenses to 18 degree awarding distance learning institutions, including the National Open University of Nigeria. The recent licensing of 4 privately owned open universities in Nigeria signifies an improved awareness of the benefits of ODL, and an elevation and a commitment and a very profound statement as to the standards of ODL practices and the utilitarian value to be derived within the Nigerian university system. We have also, as a commission, meticulously revised our ODL guidelines, making them explicit enough and unambiguous, aligning them with NUC's established regulatory framework, the recently launched core curriculum, minimum academic standards, and making them in tandem and consistent with global trends. While we acknowledge the current state of digital literacy within Nigeria and the broader African context, along with the numerous opportunities it presents, we are also cognizant of the challenges that persist. The burden of technology, affordability, cultural context, attitudinal issues, limited access to technology and the internet, and socio-economic disparities, including inadequate digital infrastructure that continue to impede progress. We argue that addressing these gaps is imperative if we are to enhance access to quality education, improve employability prospects, and empower our youth to actively engage in the global digital economy. I'm optimistic that this meeting will afford us the opportunity to share insights, share perspectives, and generate invaluable solutions to the challenges that we face. And I thank you for your attention and for the kind invitation extended to the National Universities Commission. I wish you the very best and a very productive outcome. I thank you once again, and good morning to each and every one of you. Congratulations to TEDFund and to the advisory team. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Executive Secretary. We are very grateful. Participants, please, unfortunately, I'm not, apologies once again for the technical disruptions. Unfortunately, I do not have the controls at my end. May I ask if any of the other organizations for goodwill messages are in the room, either their representatives, MBTE, NCCE, NITDA, AFDB, AU, Ministry of Communication, Innovation and Digital Economy, Global Digital Literacy Council, Digital Literacy Foundation for Africa, and the Federal Ministry of Education. Okay, Global Digital Literacy Council is here. Please just a minute or two for your goodwill message. Thank you. Please identify yourself. Global Digital Literacy Council.
Thank you. My name's Nicholas Haber. I'm the chair of the Global Digital Literacy Council. It's an organization that it's now in its 20th year. The council brings together government officials, employers, and educators to define what it means to be digitally literate today. It's a privilege to be here at the Nigerian Digital Literacy Advisory Committee today, and I wish you all goodwill and success in your endeavors to drive digital literacy throughout Africa. The Global Digital Literacy Council aligns with the goals of the Nigerian administration to drive digital literacy education throughout Africa. The work we do at the Global Digital Literacy Council sets the standard for the IC3 Digital Literacy Certification, which is the global standard for measuring outcomes in education. Just recently, we had a convocation in Florida. We had representatives from NICTA and the TET Fund, and it was great to have Africa represented at our council. The work we do at the Global Digital Literacy Council sets the standard for the IC3 Digital Literacy Certification, which is the global standard for measuring educational outcomes. The IC3 Digital Literacy Certification has been delivered to millions and millions.
So look for the look. This is look.
Demonstrated, the digital world has become part of every aspect of our lives. It's allowed many to stay connected, to stay informed, to continue to learn and to work. The pandemic accelerated.
Nicholas, please unmute yourself.
Yeah, the pandemic accelerated the need for digital skills. With so many people learning and working remotely, new opportunities have emerged and new demands for ICT skills have been raised. In the ICT sector, global reporting has demonstrated that 71% of employers around the world are unable to find people with the right skills to hire. And additionally, over 66% of ICT workers now work remotely. I'm here at your meeting, zoomed in from the United States, and you can hear and see me clear as day. When Africans are trained and skilled, they have every opportunity to obtain these great ICT jobs that are in demand and get decent wages. I thank you again for inviting me to your workshop, and I look forward to working with you to drive digital skills today and at future workshops. Thank you, and best of success to you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Nicholas Haber, for your brief remarks. It's a pleasure to have you here. I saw NCCE, a representative from NCCE. Please, can you 1 or 2 minutes for the goodwill message? Thank you.
Please unmute yourself, please.
You can unmute yourself, NCCE, and deliver your goodwill message.
Christine Ofule, unmute yourself, please.
I'm actually unmuted. Can you hear me, please?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. I was asking for the NCCE representative for their goodwill message. I saw a hand. Sorry, MBTE?
MBT
okay.
has been around.
Okay, please, MBTE, please go ahead. 1 to 2 minutes, please.
Thank you very much. Our warm regards and greetings to the ES and other distinguished personalities on this platform today. Would like to congratulate the committee for this very important step. MBT has been driving the agenda for skills for the past 2 years, and skills do not just cover hard skills only, it also covers digital skills. So it's very vital for us to imbibe this. Digitalization is a must in this age, and therefore I'm very hopeful through this committee we are going to drive the digitalization agenda. But MBT has already gone ahead to do a lot in that direction. We're not going to wait for others. We hope others will follow our footsteps anyway. Finally, my remark is to request the TED Fund to get young people to drive this digitalization. If you are going to do a program on sociology, history, and archaeology, you can get people of our age. But the kind of team I'm seeing driving this, I felt discouraged. When President Bola Tinubu appointed Bosun Tijani as the Minister for Digital Economy, I felt greatly encouraged. You see, digitalization, we should allow the young minds to drive it. If I graduated with BSc Computer Science 40 years ago, it's irrelevant today. So I would like TED Fund to please allow young minds to drive this agenda so that we'll be able to get the best. Look at how this webinar even started at the very beginning. So that's my only appeal to TED Fund. Otherwise, it's a very good program, and MBT is ready to key into it very well. Congratulations, and God bless you all.
Thank you very much, Executive Secretary MBTE, for your kind remarks. Your observations have been duly noted. And the Executive Secretary, I understand, of NCCE is here. Sir, please, can you give your brief goodwill message? NCCE.
Thank you very much. I believe you can hear me from that side.
Yes, we can hear you. May I
Okay.
request,
Thank you.
I think there's some noise in your background, but we can hear you.
There is no noise in my own background. I'm alone in the office.
Okay, sir. Please go ahead.
There is none. It is my pleasure, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, it is my pleasure and honor to deliver this goodwill message on behalf of NCC and the College of Education sector at this median webinar on digital literacy series tagged Global Conversation on Digital Literacy in Africa. I congratulate the Executive Secretary, his management, the management of TED Fund, and the TED Fund Advisory Committee on Digital Learning, Digital Literacy for organizing this event, which I deem timely as it brings relevant stakeholders who are connected here today virtually to a common ground to develop a roadmap for digital literacy and emerging skills for tertiary education in Nigeria. I say kudos to all education stakeholders, heads of beneficiary institutions, and directors of ICT present at this median webinar. I must emphasize that this webinar clearly resonates with the desire of every stakeholder present, particularly as it is aimed at igniting the process of blending tertiary education systems with global emerging modern work and work environment, making use of the best global practices. For lecturers and students in tertiary institutions to be digitally literate means they having ability to access, manage, understand, integrate, communicate, evaluate, create information safely and appropriately through digital technologies. We at NCC, as a regulating agency for all NCE awarding institutions, we are critical stakeholders in this business taking place today. It might interest you that we are doing a lot, even in our colleges, beginning from the COVID era. So we have so many e-platforms that our colleges use for instructional delivery. Even we have courses that makes our students to be digital literate. So the idea is that it's expected that every NCE graduate will be equipped with digital advantages, which will support their sustainable prosperity. So the Commission is willing to further collaborate with TED Fund and other development partners in advancing digital tech literacy in the College of Education subsector. I do hope, therefore, that the roadmap that will be developed at the end of this event will include, most importantly, the necessary strategies that will help in fully integrating digital literacy and skills in teacher education with best global practices in order to enhance their productivity when they join the world of work. I once more congratulate TED Fund for this innovative move and believe that they will keep us with this series. I wish all fruitful deliberations and thank you for your kind invitation. God bless.
Thank you very much, sir, for your warm remarks. We appreciate your presence at this webinar. May I, at this point, ask if there's a representative from NITDA, National Information Technology Development Agency, or the Federal Ministry of Communication, Innovation and Digital Economy? If
DG NITDA is here. DG NITDA is around.
Okay,
thank
sir.
you very much.
DG NITDA, please, you have the floor, sir, for a brief goodwill message. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much, and thank you for inviting us. First and foremost, I want to thank TED Fund for organizing this webinar. And I think there will never be a more perfect time to have this conversation than now. Because in July, we launched the National Digital Literacy Framework. And digital literacy today, literacy is not just about the ability to read and write, but also to use digital devices, consume digital services safely, and use it in an ethical manner. So we have worked with the ecosystem, and it was developed in a collaborative and participatory manner, where we took input from almost all stakeholders. Also, after that, there was a committee set up under the public service reform with representatives from all government agencies that reviewed the document. And it was launched, and we have started the implementation. Under the document, we have identified 6 key competency areas and 33 individual competencies we need to develop as a nation under digital literacy. And it looks end to end, from the people in the formal education system to those out of school, and even all people. Because under the National Digital Economy Policy, we have an ambitious target of achieving 95% digital literacy by 2030, which is also in alignment with SDGs. And also under the blueprint launched by our minister on the 2nd of this month, he wants us to identify the quick wins, the medium term, and the long term. Under that, he came up with a strategy to achieve 95% by 2027. And tomorrow we are going to have a workshop or policy dialogue seminar sponsored by TIZ. And I want to use this opportunity to invite you all to join us at the Wells Housing Hotel here in Abuja. Those who haven't got an official invitation, please use this as an invitation to join us. The dialogue will happen in 4 locations, starting from Abuja. We'll do Abuja, Lagos, Port Harcourt, and Kano. So we want to use the process to co-create everything. We don't want to, maybe as a government, just to sit in the office, use armchair theory to come up with something. Because when you have a policy, it's beyond the policy makers. You need to have the change makers, the impact makers to be part of it. That's why we are engaging, we are carrying everyone along. So I think also this webinar will strengthen this movement of achieving 70% by 2027. If we can have all hands in deck, it will make it easier for us, because it looks at how can we review the curriculums from the kindergarten to universities. How can we get people out of school also to be digitally literate? How can we get all people? How can we even go beyond using the formal way to use Nigerian languages to educate our people? Because, for example, we are talking about digitalizing all government services, and we don't want to leave anybody behind. We want people that cannot read and write to also be able to open their smartphone, open an app and use it. For example, I know someone who cannot read and write, but he can open a WhatsApp, use voice message and send to people, and people can respond to him through that. And you can use USSD to make payment and so on. So this is the kind of digitally literate Nigeria we want to achieve, because the economy now is moving digital. And when you talk about digital economy, it is about the number of the people that use services. And also, as a business or company, your company is as good as it is next product, and that next product is as good as the people who make it. So we need people in Nigeria that can build our digital offerings so that Nigeria can benefit. We can grow our GDP and grow our digital economy. Thank you very much for the opportunity. We look forward to having more stronger and productive relationships. And we look forward to seeing you tomorrow, 9 a.m. at Wells Carlson Hotel in Asokoro for the policy dialogue on the national digital literacy. Thank you.
Thank you very much, DG. Please.
Please unmute yourself.
Thank you very much, DG Nita, for the excellent remarks and information on the progress that has been done so far, underscoring the ethical and the importance of the ethical and secure aspects of the digital landscape. May I ask at this point if there are any others, if we can share the agenda once again? I believe we've covered all the invited organizations for goodwill messages that are in attendance. Please do let me know in the chat if there is any other person, any other organization listed that has not that is present but has not delivered their goodwill message. We'll quickly want to move on because of the time that was lost at the beginning. Thank you for your patience and with us. The technical, I believe from what I understand, the hosting was actually hacked into, but everything is under control now. Thank you for your patience once again. Now, I would like to introduce the keynote speaker briefly, and before he comes up and to deliver the keynote address. The keynote speaker for today is Emeritus Professor Olugbemiro Jegede. He is a distinguished Nigerian educator and administrator with a remarkable career spanning several prestigious institutions and significant contributions to education and distance learning. He served as the Secretary to the government of Kogi State and held the position of Secretary General and Chief Executive of the Association of African Universities. He also played a pivotal role in the National Open and Distance Learning Program and served as the Foundation Vice Chancellor of the National Open University of Nigeria from 2003 to 2010. Professor Jegede holds dual professorships in science education and open and distance learning. His contributions to teaching and learning are globally acknowledged, particularly in 5 areas. One for the theory of collateral learning, which he developed in 1995, that adapts learners, enables learners to adapt within a classroom environment. And this theory has been cited over 7,000 times in literature. The second is a theory of webagogy for the development of web-based e-learning course materials. Third is he co-founded e-journal in instructional science and technology. This was the first electronic journal in ODL in Australia. Fourth, he pioneered the video conference general session of the National Association of Research in Science Teaching, and which laid the foundation of what we now know as Zoom. And fifth, he has successfully conducted several online conferences way back then when it was not popular to do so. Throughout his career, Professor Jegede has received numerous national and international awards, including recognition as Best Vice Chancellor and the Hitachi Software of Japan Award, AAU Higher Education Ambassador for Open and Distance Learning Award. He has presented over 160 keynote addresses at various events, has authored 25 books, and published over 173 refereed articles. His experience transverses several institutions across Africa, Asia, and Europe. Professor Jegede's exceptional contributions have earned him fellowships in prestigious organizations, including the Nigeria Academy of Education, Commonwealth of Learning, Africa Academy of Science, and the Science Teachers Association of Nigeria. In 2015, he was appointed Emeritus Professor at the National Open University of Nigeria and continues to serve as a consultant to various international agencies, contributing his expertise to furthering education and digital literacy in Nigeria. Currently, he chairs the TED Fund Advisory Committee on Digital Literacy, Productivity, Emerging Skills, with a focus on establishing centers of excellence for digital literacy in the country. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, it's my privilege and honor to welcome Professor Olugbemiro Jegede and to invite him to deliver his keynote address. Professor Olugbemiro Jegede, please. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Professor Ofogwe. I need to apologize.
You are muted, sir.
It was due to certain technical stitches we're trying to sort out. The second, as has been mentioned by Professor Ofogwe, was that somebody tried to hack into the hosting and the whole of the webinar, probably in that person's view to tell us why we actually now need digital literacy. So maybe the person has helped to point out certain things, but I'm glad that the techies in-house have been able to sort that out, and they've bumped the person off. So again, because of time, I would like to just go ahead immediately and then to thank the 256 people who have joined around the world. We have people from Australia, Malaysia, Brazil, the US, the UK, Canada, South Africa, I think Rwanda, and several others that I'm seeing online. What we're trying to do today, as has been said by the Executive Secretary of TED Fund, is just to kickstart the webinar, which will be quarterly to start with, and to draw the attention of Africans, of the whole world, and of Nigerians to the need for digital literacy, because already 140-something countries have done that, and there's no reason why Nigeria wouldn't join. Nice, not moving the race. So let me. Yeah. Right. I will quickly run through this in my 20 minutes. And I realize that 20 minutes will not be enough for whatever we are doing today, but this is just the tip of the iceberg. And we want to just get you interested. And subsequent webinars will go deeper and do much more. The presentation will be made online for anybody. And so it is on Creative Commons license. So you can use it any way you like. this is all that Professor Fule has been trying to say, and I'm just giving it to you digitally in half a minute. Let me begin by one or two words. Oh, I need to go back, please. One or two words about TED Fund. TED Fund actually started in 1993 or something like that, and then it went on for a review, and then it's now been completely revamped to make it the Tertiary Education Trust Fund. And it intervenes in higher education, public tertiary institutions, in addition with project management, to rehabilitate, restore, and consolidate whatever we are doing in Nigeria in tertiary education. It administers, it manages, it disburses 2% education tax that is paid from accessible profit of companies registered in Nigeria. Many people from other parts of the world have been asking, how do you get the money for TED Fund? This is how they get it. Companies are being taxed for 2% of their profit, not anything else. And what TED Fund does is to invest in several areas, including physical infrastructure, including research, publication, etc. But we have moved one step. I want to thank God for the visionary leadership we have from the current executive secretary, architect Sunday Echono, who has looked into the future of Africa, and he has decided that whether we like it or not, we must join the global digital race. And that is why we have the Tertiary Advisory Committee on Digital Literacy, Productivity, and Emerging Skills. It's given us about 10 or 15 terms of reference, but I will just mention one or two here. That we must craft a roadmap to empower tertiary education workers and learners with digital advantages. The second is that we must seek to adopt best global practices, as mentioned, around the world, so that we should meet the demands of the digital age. The third is that we will work on establishing centers of excellence for digital literacy, for training, research, innovation, and to inculcate the 21st century skills of creativity in our use to function in a digital economy. And that is why we are engaging everybody in the global conversation on digital literacy in Africa as a beacon to guide us through the challenges that we're going to face. So indeed, this is one of the terms of reference that will be given that we should do that. And that's why we are calling you to this roundtable or whatever your table is, wherever you are. Again, we are talking about digital literacy. It is something that is a global solution to the problems of, or the issues or challenges of 21st century. And nobody can avoid it because of what is going on. The goals of the 21st century are many, but some of them include having a sustainable development, highly educated, mobile and adaptable workforce, multi-skilled, multitask, and we must eliminate illiteracy. And this one, what you are seeing next, is the reason why we have to eliminate illiteracy. For those of you in Nigeria, or those who have visited Nigeria from Brazil, from wherever, I'm sure you will have heard of the Oshodi confusion, the traffic confusion. It's all about illiteracy, and we need to wipe this out, and that add the digital part of it. And so with all this, we have the open technologies, and they are a 21st century imperative that we must all latch on with, because we have the inevitable development around the world. The use of emerging communication technologies are there. We must recognize the niches of organizations and parastatals, and that we must be digitally literate. We need to produce graduates and officers with broad-based knowledge for the emerging society. And we need to move on and talk about mass instruction through distance learning for many people. And the reason is because of the emerging power of technology that we have. The social media has taken over the world. It has in fact constituted itself as the seventh generation of models of e-technology. And the future is bright, but there are challenges. because we have the 21st century. Let me go back one step for it. We have the 21st century world where technology will increasingly dominate our domestic, economic, and social life. Financial and economic world will change into a plastic world. I've been to several restaurants now where they will tell you we don't take cash. They only take the plastics. We must increase the demand. There's increase in demand for constant communication and use of technology. From the statistics, we are told that there is a penetration of the mobile phone in Nigeria to the tune of 99%. And in fact, that there are more mobile phones than the number of people in Nigeria for now. And this is what we are going into. If that is going to happen, it means therefore that society will become less personal, will concentrate more on your nuclear family. Even in nuclear family, while you're having your dinner, everybody is texting or WhatsApping everybody else, even on the same table. But one thing that's going to happen is that there will be an increase in digitally committed crimes in the whole world. And in Nigeria, in Africa, just as we experienced 20, 30 minutes ago, when somebody hacked into the hosting of this just to show us that they can hack into anything. But again, we thank our techies that they've been able to do that. The digital economy was mentioned by the NIDA, who gave us the goodwill message. And this is what we're having. This is the trend. You start with ICT-based economy, and by 2030, that we are hoping that 75 or 95% of the people will be digitally literate, will have a competitive expert knowledge economy. Now, at the moment in Africa, we are only around the knowledge products and services, and it's very minimal. We have not even gone to competitive knowledge economy. Not to talk about the 2030. 2030 is only a few years. It's only 7 years, 7 years from now. And so we need to do a lot of things. But having said that, I don't want people to misunderstand why we are talking about digital literacy, but to start by saying there are different types of literacy, but we no longer limit ourselves to just reading, writing, and comprehension. The emerging digital age necessitates an array of new literacies we need to stay fluent with. All this affect the way we live, the way we work, the way we socialize, both on and offline. For me, and I will advise that don't just limit yourself to any of these literacies or single, but we need to talk about multi-literacies. However, our focus and what is happening now, the 21st century, is talking about digital literacy that all of us must latch on with. What therefore is digital literacy? Is the ability for us to select and use the appropriate research, productivity, collaboration, and communication tools to find reliable information, create content, and communicate safely and without bias in our modern digital environment. People think that once you can do Word, you can do Excel, that is digital literacy. No, that is only a very small fraction of it. We are talking about the totality of the management of data. You must be able to mine data. You must be able to analyze data. You must be able to use it. You must be able to send it out. Like we're told, there's somebody who can't read and write, but is able to go onto WhatsApp, can use the video, can use the audio. And that is what Africa needs. And the African Union's digital strategy says that the Digital Economy Initiative for Africa aims to ensure that every individual, and I underline every individual, every business, every government in Africa will be digitally enabled by 2030 in support of the African Union's digital transformation strategy in Africa. The federal government of Nigeria, through the Nigeria Digital Economy Policy and Strategy document, has set up a corresponding target of achieving 95% digital literacy in 7 years. I do hope that we can achieve it, and that's why Ted Ford has decided in his wisdom to start this. Now, just to distinguish that there's a difference between digitization and digitalization. What we are talking about is digitalization, when we are looking at digital learning that encompasses all modern pedagogical modalities found in virtual learning environment. And let me just move on, because I know many of you in the audience understand what we are talking about and that. But the digital literacy skills that we need, that the fourth industrial revolution will fundamentally alter the way we live, the way we work, the way we relate to one another, and the way we even work within ourselves, the way we think, the way we do things, the way we rationalize. We must be smart in our thinking, not just intelligent. You must be smart in using that intelligence and the wisdom. The revolution that we are looking at will require more technical capabilities than career practices formerly demanded. Nigeria must improve her digital advantage and build sustainable prosperity in preparation for the challenges of the 21st century dynamic work environment. I dare say that even though we keep talking about 21st century, we seem to have forgotten that we are already 23 years into the 21st century, and yet we are not doing much. And this is why TEDFund is trying to not just in a friendly manner that all of us will come together, all the agencies managing tertiary institutions in Nigeria and every other person must come together and look at what we need to do. So towards Nigeria, the Nigeria vision of digital literacy, the National Information NIDA has presented what is called the Nigerian Digital Innovation, Entrepreneurship and Startup Policy. It is in line with the National Digital Economy Policy and Strategy for a Digital Nigeria. I want to remind all of us that the most innovative countries in the world that control the market share of $11.5 trillion global digital economy are the countries with immense public and private sectors that are digitally literate and fund research and development. So, digital literacy certification is now compulsory in Nigeria, whether we like it or not, and I will show you why it is compulsory and why, again, TEDFund is bringing this to the fore, and with cooperation with NIDA, with NUC, NCC, and NBTE. Nigeria has said in the national plan that Nigeria will adopt the EU and UNESCO digital literacy global frameworks as our national framework. So it's already done. Nigeria will establish digital literacy as a core subject in primary, secondary, and tertiary schools in the same category as English language and mathematics, and for the purpose of qualified examinations, especially in NECO and JAM. So very soon, your children cannot take JAM, they can't take NECO, they can't graduate unless they have the certification, digital literacy certification. And that is why I'm so pleased that the tertiary institutions are on board and in a seamless handshake with TEDFund to make sure that this happens. It means that our curriculum will have to be changed. All the CC mass thing will now have to be reviewed again in line with what is going to happen. And it also means, as maybe is in one of the slides, that will tell you that from now on, the ranking of universities will no more be what you have, what everybody look at. They are looking at digital literacy and what it can bring, what value it can add to your institution. And these are the two things that institutions must know. So you must make digital literacy, Nigeria says we must make digital literacy a criterion for graduation at tertiary level for admission at postgraduate level. Digital literacy certification for employment and promotion of all public service workforce in all job roles and cadres. What it means, and it's coming from the head of service, of federal service, that you can no more be hired into any position in this country or represent this country anywhere outside without your having digital literacy certification. So we must all brace up. If you're going to go for any interview now, they will ask you, the first thing they will ask you is not bring your qualifications or whatever it is. They will say, where is your digital literacy certification? Then career-specific digital certification as additional criteria for employment and promotion. So even if you are hired with your digital literacy certificate, for you to be promoted, you need to again up your game. More digital skills will have to be acquired, and I'll show them to you in a minute, but we don't have the time, and our subsequent webinars will be espousing on all these ones. The national plan is supported by several other policies here. I don't need to read them. You have them, the National Digital Policy, National Digital Communication Policy from India. And that's why India has gone well ahead of everybody. Almost take the first 15 high-tech digital companies in the world. They are run and populated by Indians, because 25 years ago, India has already done what we are trying to do now. So what we need to do, how do we empower people to create new opportunities? There must be training and certification in digital literacy for all. We must have specialized digital skills. You must have skills for ICT professionals and other people. How do we initiate a digital rebirth? You must, as an institution, as an organization, implement the National Digital Literacy Framework. You must conduct baseline assessment.
All of us are aware of it because we had public holidays for the 63.
So, thank you, Sarah, for disturbing us a little bit. But we must adapt a global standard of digital literacy for purpose of validation of framework and conformance testing and baseline assessment. We must train and certify all staff and learners across Nigeria's tertiary institutions in a minimum of 3 and maximum of 5 skill areas within a year. And these are the skill areas which I'm trying to show you. You must have the IC3 Digital Literacy Foundation is there. You have the fast track, and you have the different areas where you can have the general one. You can have people who are in education, people in IT, people in business, people in other areas like account, finance, arts, communication, etc. Anybody, people in cybersecurity, you must get this training. Your first line is just the digital literacy certification. And let me just conclude that in the next 5 years, a number of things will happen. There will be intelligent technologies will continue to play an important role. Will continue to play an important role in our lives. They will also impact how we identify and execute higher value initiatives in professional services. Institutions that continuously embrace new technologies and develop digital intelligence strategies that are integrated and holistic will be in the best position to emerge as leaders and centers of excellence in the next 5 years. This is what I was talking about. You must get people to get this done. You must ensure that in your ranking, in preparation for your ranking, this is what is going to happen. So if you want to go on the ranking, we have only 2 universities in Nigeria that are within the first 1,000, I think between 800 and we need to move. And the way to move faster than everybody is through the digital literacy route. And I do hope that we are all getting set for that. And we must do this to transform the whole nation. And to transform the whole nation, we must transform. There are 3 levels or 4 levels of transformation. The first one will be, sorry, I think I want to get back. Sorry, just one more. The first one will be to transform self. Yeah, to transform self, the individual and your institution. Then you need to transform, the next one, you need to transform the organization, the leadership, and others. You need to transform your vision, your mission, and then you need to transform the environment, your social environment, the ecological environment, and financial environment. So finally, what is this? Yeah, sorry. Yeah, so finally, my last slide is to say that you must embrace digital literacy and use it as a tool for transformation. We must leverage on technology in ways that advance self-directed learning, and we must strengthen staff and learners' engagement in challenging, authentic, and intellectual works leading to lifelong learning. Ladies and gentlemen, I think, thank you so much for listening, and I do hope to see you in the next webinar. And if you have questions, please you can talk to me online or anyway. Yeah, so you can reach me through various places, various ways. You can reach me through the National Open University of Nigeria. You can reach me through the Tertiary Education Trust Fund, and you can reach me through colleagues that you know within the country and all around the world. And I'll be prepared through the committee. You can reach me through all the members of the committee of the advisory committee on digital TED funds, digital literacy, and productivity and emerging skills. We are also ready to TED Fund is also ready to send the committee to be of assistance to any individual or institutions or organizations or industries that are ready to begin to power the engine of digital literacy. And it's important, like I said, that Nigeria has decided on the policy. Everybody must do it, whether you like it or not. If you don't, you'll be left for dead, or you'll be left at the train station. And we must all work together, hands in glove, to make sure that digital literacy takes the priority stand in Nigeria. And for those of you who are close to the seat of government, this is the message that we need to send to everybody around Nigeria, around Africa, and for us to join the digital race globally. Thank you very much. God bless.
Thank you very much, Professor Olugbemiro Jegede. A round of applause for him with your electronic hands, if you will, for setting the stage, and it will introduce the whole idea and what our roles would be in actualizing the vision for the citizens of this nation to be digitally literate. You covered the global policy landscape, the Africa's contribution initiative in terms of policy, and Nigeria's corresponding policy. He has given us a bird's eye view of our current context, explaining to us what exactly the scope of digital literacy is, what it covers. It's more than ability to use a few tools, and what needs to be done within the next 7 years, underscoring the various policies that have been put in place by the Ministry of Digital Economy as well as NIDA, underscoring the need for the digital certification to take place. And we are all stakeholders, I believe, in this in this actualization. I would like to thank the keynote speaker once again, and at this junction, invite Dr. Usman Gambo to take the second to the final item, which is interactions, interventions, and announcements. Dr. Gambo, please.
Good afternoon. ES, the keynote speaker, and all those in participation. Thank you very much, Prof, for the anchoring of the program. I think mine is just to coordinate the next set of interaction. As Prof has said, the keynote speaker has highlighted, a number of issues that needs really to be dwelled upon. But time is not on our side. And so, but also the keynote speaker indicated that this is just the maiden edition of these seminars. So I'm sure that in subsequent sessions, we will take most of these things and then, dwell into them proper. So with the remaining sessions, we would like to hear feedback, comments, observations from those in participation, in attendance. You have two ways of doing that. Either you raise your hand, I can see a number of hands up already, or you use the chat to, outline your questions or comments so that we can read them. Before I start calling on those whose hands are up, Prof, the keynote speaker has already indicated, who is the chairman of the committee, that the presentation will be shared. We have your contacts, but just to be sure you have, please, if you can indicate your email address via the chat box, the secretariat will pick it up and make sure that the presentation and the ES's opening remarks, you get copies of. Thank you very much. Now, I'll start with Dr. Abiodun Adeshina. Please unmute yourself and then go ahead and say your comment or question. Thank you. But please let us be brief because it's not on the side. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, the moderator. I want to appreciate Professor Olugbemiro Jegede. Yeah, it's a very succinct, well-presented exposition. The question I have is this. From observation, our primary school, secondary school are not allowed to use mobile phone in school. And we are talking of a digital world. We left the teaching of how to use mobile phone to parents and siblings and neighbors in society. Is it not the high time for us to rethink over that educational policy of not allowing our primary and secondary students not use mobile phone in school? That's my first observation. The second, like it, is that in the advanced part of the world, the science, technology, engineering, arts, and mathematics have been integrated together as what we call STEAM education. Is it not high time we review our curriculum at primary, secondary, and tertiary institutions to incorporate all these 5 subjects as a singular subject called STEAM education? And the third question like that is that when we look at the new CC Mass for university that ought to have started the last month in September, the curriculum recommended one of Professor's friend theories, CTCA by Professor Okebukola. CTCA, which is cultural contextual teaching, cultural techno-contextual approach of teaching and learning. If we are recommending this for science and regional teaching in tertiary institutions, is it not high time we equally recommend the CTCA in the primary and secondary school teaching and learning? These are my observations and questions. Thank you for that succinct presentation, Prof.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Gift Ahmed. Prof, please, let's just take, and also when setting your questions, please be brief. We may not be able to, to have responses to all, questions you may have. So be specific. Pick one of your many questions that you may have so that at least we can provide opportunities for many to comment. Thank you very much. So give Ahmed next. Gift. Right, Gift seems not to be ready. Dr. Bola. Dr. Bola, can you unmute yourself?
Yes, sir. Good afternoon now. Good morning. Thank you so much, Professor Olugbemiro. I'm from Federal Poly, Ilaro. What is bothering me whenever I hear anything that has to do with ICT, especially digitalization or digitization, is the issue of power generation, especially in sub-Saharan Africa. We know that there's no way we can drive all these things without electricity. Is there anything that TED Fund or any other body is thinking about to aid all these institutions or the nation as a whole on power generation? Bearing in mind that even if you can afford to have a generator to fuel it either with PMS or what do we call it? Whatever fuel is using now is a lot of money. Diesel is about 1,000 naira, and the PMS is about 700 naira. How do we expect to drive this digital literacy in all the levels of education without power generation? And the second thing that I'm always worried about is the issue of internet. Do we call it broadband or bandwidth? We know that in Nigeria we have two major providers, the Glo Communication and also the MTN, and maybe I think maybe what are they calling themselves now? This one that keep changing name. Now, these two communication organizations, they are the ones that are giving us our internet. How extensive are these internets running around the country? Because from time to time, we keep seeing people digging ground, laying cables, green, yellow, blue, and in another year, give it 2-3 years, we see them digging it up again. Or some people are breaking it when they are doing their own construction. How do we sustain digital literacy? How do we, what are we thinking about sustainability? These two key issues, I think, is what TEDFund can also help us to address. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Please, I mean, like I indicated earlier on, time is not on our side. So please be brief. Go straight to your questions. I think it will help us, address quite a number of questions. Prof. Jegede, do you want to respond to the 5 issues raised, please? Thank you.
Yes, thank you very much. I thank the people who have provided their intervention. I think the issues, whatever they are saying, even though they are trying to tell us or indicate the challenges, they are also telling us that there is a way forward. Mobile phone in primary, secondary schools, it's only a matter of time. It is only a matter of time, and they will be allowed to take this step, because once the digital literacy starts for the whole country, then the revolution, I hope you are not taking it politically, I'm talking about digital revolution. The revolution will go everywhere. Headmasters, teachers, people who sell, everybody must carry their phone. It's just that we need to regulate how the phones will be used in the school system. Review the curriculum. Yes, I agree with you. The STEM, whatever, should be integrated. We are now getting into a situation where we no more work in silos. We have to all work together. Yes, the curriculum for the primary, secondary, and even tertiary will have to be reviewed. I still keep saying, with all due respect, that what we have done with CC Maths has gone a long way to show us that there is more to be done. We need to put everything down again and begin to look at how it fits in with the digital literacy, digital economy, and whatever we are trying to, everything we do must be digital. It has to be digital based. And so we need to begin to go into that. Oh, the technocultural thing, I just want to mention this. I think Professor Fulwe mentioned this, that in 1996, I propounded a theory of collateral learning for people learning science with non-Western background, learning Western science in a cultural setting. And that is being proved to be what is happening around the world. So you can just go back to collateral learning, go and Google my collateral learning theory 1995. And as of today, my understanding is that there are 65 people doing doctoral work on it around the world. It can help us, but we need to all bring all our hands must be together. Issue of power generation, I think is being solved one way or the other, either by individuals or by states or by government. Again, it's a matter of time. But we cannot wait and fold our hands and say until the power is completely there for everybody before we undertake digital literacy. We must do the best that we can, even within our system, like we saw this morning. We had a little bit of hitches until we identified that somebody was hacking into it and trying to make sure this didn't work. But we have been able to surmount it. We just need to work in that way. Network coverage. I'm not sure how many of you, I said this story somewhere, and some people didn't seem to understand what was happening. 2007, Nigeria launched the satellite 2, the communications that comes at 2. It was launched 2007, and the federal government at that time said they should use the open education through the National Open University of Nigeria and the rural medicine as a test case. We started using it then, 2007, 2008. My students were no more, they didn't have to come to Lagos, staff didn't have to come to Lagos for any meeting. We were doing the video conferencing or whatever it is. All of a sudden, 6 months after, the whole satellite that was done for Nigeria by China disappeared from space. How can that happen? So today we must find out. And somebody mentioned, I don't want to mention it because I don't want to be taken to court, but we now know why it happened. It was sabotage. Sabotage by some of these communication companies in the country. Because if the satellite works, it will cover the whole of Nigeria. And they will not be able, because you can then power your phone, do everything from the national satellite. But some of these people who are making money out of it, typical of the Nigerian African situation, they are not allowing it to happen. I do hope that the Nigerian government will wake up and let us do this thing the right way. Make sure that the communication satellite is working for everybody. Make sure that it can power the whole country. Make sure that the last mile connectivity with fiber optics will be done. There's no reason, with all the money that is being stolen, all the money that is running around the whole, every local government should have had a station, a hub station where they'll be able to harness electricity, harness sun, turn it into electricity, and use it to power our phones, use it to power everything, use it to have a networking. We can do it. And first, the number that attended is telling me that we are all ready, we can do it. Third Fund is ready, is saying they are ready to move the country forward in many other ways, in a novel way that is happening. And the organizations for tertiary education, the monitoring institutions, NUC, NCCE, NBTE, and the rest, they are also ready. I know that NBT has already even started doing quite a lot of things in their own way, in their polytechnics, on digital literacy also. So I think we are moving. NIDA is there. Several other people are there. We just need to work together. The days have gone when one unit, one ministry is working, the other one doesn't know what is happening. You are covering up, you don't want somebody to. Why must we quarrel? Why must there be any dissension? Why must there be any altercation? We are doing it for the country. But people personalize things. For me, I look at issues. I don't look at personality. So let us do what is right, and I think we're going to move forward. We have only 7 years to achieve 95% literacy. And actually, maybe we should just stop talking now and move on. That the next webinar should be telling us how far the world has gone, how far we are going. And we do hope that I thank the chairman of the Global Literacy Council that is also attending this meeting. The African Council is attending. The AU is attending. So I hope that people will bring everything on the table, and that the Ministry of National Economy and Digital Economy or Blue Economy or whatever, and NIDA and all that cannot come together with Third Fund, all of us on the same table, and let's work together. This can be done. I can assure you that in 7 years, if the committee set up by Third Fund is allowed to do the work around the world, around Nigeria, in 7 years, we can achieve that digital literacy, the IC3 certification that is being sought for. Thank you very much.
Sorry. Thank you very much, Prof, for the wonderful feedback about the questions. Just to add to what Prof has said, the two issues that were raised, issue of power generation and internet connectivity, there are a number of initiatives of government, particularly the broadband plan 2020-2025 outline initiatives, and there's a lot that is going on. And I'm sure in subsequent webinars, these issues can be discussed further in terms of power generation as well as internet connectivity. Now, there are comments online via the chat. One, Prof. Olusegun Noah, saying, Prof. Jegede, our speaker, sir, I appreciate your presentation, sir, and I agree with everything you've said. I only want to add that we will need to go beyond certification. This is because our educational institutions certify many graduates today, with the graduates knowing next to nothing about what they are certified for. I think we must, plan towards putting substance in the certification. So that's his view. Olusegun Olaoyin from Ekiti State University. Another, I'm sure Prof has already commented on Professor Hakim's question on STEM and STEAM in curriculum, so that we don't need to go through. Another, is it Bandega? Saying thank you very much, Prof, for that presentation. As usual, I recall a session organized by the National Open University last year, where you also made a presentation with respect to digital policies for learning and teaching by tertiary institutions. I do not know to what extent the universities have gone towards this, but I think it's time for them all to be reminded. Secondly, there is always the issue of funding for infrastructure for online learning and teaching. I would like to request TEDFund to intervene in this regard. So these are just two of the many comments and observations online. I would, with permission of the ES and then the ANCO, go on to request the three hands that are up, but maybe two, we can take two of them because of time. Geoffrey, please, can you unmute yourself? And put your question forward or comment, please. Thank you.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, I'm Professor Godfrey Akbajoto from Delta State University, Abraka. I am one of those who actually introduced Python programming language into Nigeria here. I organized a number of foundational courses at the National Mathematical Center, Abuja. Now, the basic thing I want to talk about is that it's a project which will help this whole digitalization process, and that is the use of smartphone. Somebody talk about issues of power generation and maintenance. And long ago, I observed that these things were issues when I was organizing workshops around the country on Python. And I discovered that one way to get around it, it may look stupid, or naive, but that is the use of smartphone. So I adopted the use of smartphone for my teaching of Python programming language. And I have given talk at the PyCon US, that is where we have the Python Foundation. And they even met with Eva Rustrom, who developed the Python programming language on the use of smartphone for Python programming. And I've also given talk in South Africa on the same topic. And wherever I give this talk, people, especially from emerging economies, are always very interested, because it seems the problem we have here, like power, many other countries still have it. And so smartphone is something that is owned by the individual. It's something that is maintained by the individual. And now we have a number of these slim versions of programming language, like Python, for instance, C++. They are all there in this smartphone. So I think if we want to make any meaningful impact within the 7 years that we are proposing now, we must include, as a matter of urgency, the use of smartphone. Is very key, because it is already with the people. They already have it. All this, we are in the university. All this talk about, oh, you want to digitalize Nigeria using the university. Go to many of these universities. Some of them, at best, they have one computer lab. You understand? They have one computer lab, but the use of smartphone can overcome this. And I've done a lot of it. You can Google my name, you see the little presentations we have done. Yeah, I want to be part of this project, because as he said, Indians are leading because they started this ICT long ago. So please, I want to be part of it. And I want to come with it, with my project. Okay?
Thank you.
Digitalization using smartphone. Thank you very much. And I thank the speaker again. And I thank the organizer for this wonderful webinar. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Your comments noted. I'm sure you'll be contacted. The Secretariat will contact you. TED Fund will do that. Thank you very much once again. Dr. Abdulkadir, please.
Perhaps that would be the last person, please. Thank you. Because of time. Dr. Gambo, are you still in the room? Hello, sir, Dr. Gambo. Can Dr. Usman Gambo hear me?
Maybe he's not
Hello?
on. Maybe he's not on.
I think must be a network issue. Dr. Abdul Kadri, can you please go ahead and make your comment, please, very quickly?
All right. Good afternoon, and well done for this workshop. Mine is an observation, or rather a question I want to ask. I am in University of Maiduguri, Department of Education, and I am trying to present my question based on the environment I found myself, particularly Borno State, with this insurgency of a thing. Now we are talking about this digitalization of our learning process and the rest. And I was like wondering, most of our schools, if not majority of our schools, were born. Issue of a classroom in some of our secondary schools is a problem. Our students find it very difficult to even have a class, not to talk of computer and the rest. I'm asking now, with this issue of insecurity, although I have heard somebody talk about power supply, so I want to remain silent, but this issue of a lack of infrastructure facility, technical know-how in the part of the teachers that will teach the students, then political will of the government. So many policies were raised, so many policies were brought up, but because of this political instability and then policy instability, we find it very difficult way to achieve that. Now, my question is, was there any special intervention from either government or anybody that may help the community or the state in particular? Because as it is, we are backward. If we are to go with this modernization or with this initiative, which I look at it as a very good intervention, but majority of our school in Borno State lack all these facilities that we are talking about. Was there any intervention from the TED Fund or any other organizations that will help the state so that we will be able to compete with other states like in the south or other states that they do not face this issue of insurgency that we have faced? Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you very much, Dr. Abdulkadri. Is Dr. Gambo back?
Yeah, I'm back. I'm back. Prof.
Okay.
Sorry.
Okay. Yes. So Dr. Abdulkadri is the last person that whose comment we are taking. So maybe Professor Olugbemiro Jegede will take that and we can round up. Thank you.
Okay, before Prof comes in, if I can just maybe based on Dr. Abdulkadir's comment, read a comment online from I think Kiro Banjoko. said Dr. Abiodun additional digital literacy in primary and secondary schools in Nigeria is in place through UBEC. I'm sure this is in response to one of the questions that were raised earlier on. Through the UBEC Smart Schools project in all the states in Nigeria, and that could possibly address some of the questions that Dr. Abdul Kadir raised. As a consultant to the project, basic education has not been left out at all. They are not allowed to bring their phones, but technologies for blended learning are in place. Certain states are already in operation with all the interactive whiteboards and tablets provided for teachers and students. This is a comment from Dr. Abiodun Additional. So this, I think, addresses some of the issues that were raised earlier, as well as Dr. Abdul Kadir. I know particularly, the Borno State government are intervening in a number of places. So there are initiatives. Of course, these things are not going around. So there's need for more to be done, but there are activities and initiatives. What is important, which the committee, I think, is working on, is making sure that the synergy among these government agencies, such that these initiatives, targeted interventions are done across the board. Thank you very much. So, Prof, over to you, Professor Jegede.
Thank you. Okay, Professor Jegede, please. Is Professor Jegede in the room?
Yes, I am speaking. Sorry about that. Yeah, I am in the room and I'm speaking. I'm just saying that all the questions, all the interventions are very positive ones to tell us that we can do it and that we should go ahead and do it. As has been mentioned, UBEC is doing a lot at the primary and at the basic level, and I relate to them very well in many ways. And we are going to, I think they also need to move on much further than what is happening now. And so if we can all together, as has been mentioned by Dr. Abdul Kadir, in the areas that are vulnerable, we have a lot of NGOs that come in and just do one thing today and tell us we are giving water to everybody and they go away the next day. I think we should be the ones channeling them to say, you want to come and help us? These are our problems. You are not the one to tell us what the problems are from outside. So once we can do that and we can get the NGOs working, we can get the civil liberty organizations, the government and industries, I think we'll be able to do it. I still believe that the issue of funding should be at the backstage, because there's a lot of money floating around this country, either in people's individual bank accounts or wherever that is not being used. If we can mop all these things up, we should be able to do something. What we are talking about and what I'm getting from people is that we have the digital skill gap. We have the digital skills gap that we must bridge in this country and in Africa. And to do that, we cannot but latch on to digital literacy. Yes, digital literacy must go on. Somebody said it should be done under entrepreneurship. No, I disagree. It should be done not under entrepreneurship, but alongside. They must work hand in glove together to do it. And just the last sentence is that Engineer Odo, who will be given the keynote, the vote of thanks, will be telling us about the next webinar. And I'm glad to say that the chairman of the Global Digital Literacy Council, who is also attending, and he's going to mention his name, will be the one bringing that contribution to us. Again, thank you all over the world for those who have joined. That we'll still have 256 people, hooked on up to this point. Is fantastic. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, Dr. Gambo.
Hey, go ahead. Yeah, I was going to just hand over back to you to just say thank you so much for the opportunity. I hand it over back to you. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Gambo, for anchoring the Q&A session. And thank you, distinguished participants, for your active participation, contributions and comments and questions. I think what is clear is that there's a lot already going on. There's a lot more that needs to be done. What is already going on, there's need to be to forge collaboration and synergy. There are solutions to every challenge. And indeed, I just want to make a quick mention. A participant did mention a workshop that I held last year, I believe, which was organized by Richardol in collaboration with Center of Excellence here on digital policy initiatives. And it was attended by a number of vice chancellors. The report and communique is available, and all of these issues were touched upon, and I believe that we're well on course, even at the higher education level, especially underscoring the need for digital policies, digital literacy for training of teachers and students alike. So thank you very much, our distinguished participants, for your cooperation and participation. I would now like to hand over to Engineer Joseph Odo for the vote of thanks and information about the next webinar. Thank you.
Thank you, my bosses. Good afternoon, everyone. First of all, the announcements. The next session of the webinar, which started today and will be held quarterly as we go down the road, and then maybe it might come down to monthly, will be on bridging the digital skills gap starts with digital literacy, to be anchored by the Chair Global Digital Literacy Council, Nicholas Haber. We thank Nicholas for being available in this forum today, and we hope this session will also be as engaging as what we have today. The second announcement, following some of the questions raised about the fund. The fund is doing a lot of initiatives towards improving our learning, improving the research environment, improving the teaching environment in our public tertiary institutions. And this initiative today is one of the initiatives of the present Executive Secretary, who is IT savvy and who has as one of his agenda to use ICT to improve the teaching, the learning and research environment of our beneficiary institutions. Last year, we dedicated the zonal intervention to 3 areas that are key to ICT infrastructure development. One is to provision for mobile data to our students, to our staff of the beneficiary institutions. And we will go further, hopefully within the 2024 budget year, to provision for fixed data for fixed internet for our institutions. The other area is the area of subscription to electronic journals and databases. And we are starting this with IPSCO, post services. And we hopefully will cascade to other electronic journal publishers and aggregators. The third area is to request institutions to provide solar power to at least very important buildings in their institutions, starting with their library. We look at the library of every institution as an experience center that we can provision power, provision access to internet, provision network facilities, and now gradually cascade these facilities and access to other important buildings in the institution, and gradually every part of the institution can have internet access, can be an experience center of sorts. So these efforts will be continued in 2024. Even in this 2023, we encourage all institutions to make use of their interventions, be it physical intervention, be it zonal intervention, or the ICT intervention, to provision for ICT infrastructure in your institutions. We can see that today we were able to gather together about 259 participants for this meeting, and it is a virtual meeting, and we can gather 1,000, we can gather 1 billion, and just as was earlier mentioned by all the people that did speak, using digital literacy, using ICT infrastructure, you can be able to break so many boundaries that hitherto is a challenge for our learning environment. So the other thing we are also doing is to aggregate services, which, as we did say, we have started now. Aggregate services and aggregate platforms. And we are doing this by introducing the beneficiary identity management system that will enable us on board our students, on board our staff, on board our teaching, non-teaching staff, to services that the fund tertiary education research and application platform. This platform will aggregate services and offer these services to all our beneficiary institutions. This will enable them to improve their ranking, get accreditation, maintain accreditation, achieve their various mandates in their various institutions as learning institutions. So with these few things said, I wish to, on behalf of the fund, thank my bosses that have made themselves available for this webinar series, despite their very important and busy schedules. For all the people that did give goodwill messages, we thank especially the convener of this, the Executive Secretary of Tertiary Education Trust Fund, Architect Sonny Echeno, for his foresight and his drive to make use of ICT to improve the teaching and learning environment. We thank everyone, the stakeholders, both the global attendees and both the local attendees, our beneficiary institutions that have also come out, the heads of institutions, the librarians, the DICTs, the directors of research, and all DEX officers and all other people that have joined this webinar series that started today. We say thank you for attending, and also our bosses from our stakeholders, NIDA, from NUC, from NCC, from MBT, and other stakeholders that did join this webinar series. We thank you, and we hope that the next session we will have less teaching problems, and it will be more engaging and more fruitful as we drive to achieve the agenda that we have put out, and also the national agenda on digital literacy. Please, let's note that we will leave the forum open for a while. Please send in your emails. We will send today's speech and a presentation by Prof to everyone, and also any other contributions. Please feel free to make it in the chat. We will be able to memorize this, and it will form inputs to the committee's work. Thank you, everyone, and I wish us a blessed week ahead. Thank you.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you, Engineer Joseph Odo. Thank you, distinguished participants. At this junction, I think we would say we hope to see you at the next webinar. And from this end, it is bye for now. Bye.
Thank you.